Recent trend of starting in turn 12. Here we go, and Graham Rahal has been given the flexibility and permission by race control to start it when you feel it's ready to go. Dixon alongside in that bright orange and blue machine alongside Colton Herter. Where's the championship leader? He's on the inside. Rahal into turn 1. Do we get through cleanly? There's a lockup, a little bit of contact there.
Two cars going through. I think that might have been Kyle Kirkwood in the pink car going long and hitting one of the barriers, but up front they continue to race. Look at Dixon, orange and blue car, trying to sneak on Colton Herter in the black and yellow.
Rossi up the inside there, power side by side. Look at this. Good stuff from the teammates, but the dirt flies. One of those cars is Ilott. Grosjean got airborne. Wheels slamming, cars hitting.
And the left front from Romain Grosjean is destroyed.
Power was even looking a little bit racing there into turn 1 as we see Kirkwood try to make up some of that ground on Helio Castroneves. Great move through the first chicane. And Phil Powers off, turn 4.
Is that contact from Alexander Rossi? These guys were arguing over the same piece of track multiple times. He stalled. Power needs help, and it's a caution.
This is the story of red versus black tires, but it started much earlier. Two cars going side by side. Oh, there he goes. That's in turn 4. I initially thought 7.
Back to racing. Here we go into turn 1. Watch the teammates further back in the orange machine. Rosenquist on the inside of Rossi. Here he comes, turn 12. Graham's crawling down pit lane here. Here comes the Freightliner Chevy down the front straight. He's at speed. Rahal to get off that pit lane speed limiter.
Graham will be there first, but on cold black tires as McLaughlin has a full lap of temperature in his Firestones.
And we're on borrowed time as far as seeing Felix's. There's a quick, good race off pit lane between the teammates there. And Award comes back on the inside of Felix. They almost touched.
Should have the advantage on the Reds in a couple of corners, but not if he slides off track.
Overtake, mixture 1, overtake.
So that's the call, overtake. You want to try to get up to speed as quickly as possible on that outlap. Helio Castroneves.
Don't get a blocking penalty, Alex Palou.
That was marginal.
Absolutely deserving of review. I don't care if it's Helio Castroneves who you're not battling at the lead. That looked like a move in reaction to.
You see a drop of rain on that lens, or is that just fuel coming, or the spray water coming off the back of... Oh, here we go.
Ericsson goes through. It is overcast here in Portland. There goes VK. Rinus, VK. That's the difference between cold and hot tires.
Pato O'Ward, who battles Dixon for a podium position. Marcus Armstrong here with a 7. Oh, no, loses the right rear.
Just Kevin, just when he was poised for his equal best IndyCar result, it's all gone away.
Oh no, Canapino, right when his Rookie of the Year rival, Marcus Armstrong, has trouble. Canapino now.
Guys, if the yellow comes out, Felix Rosenquist is going to be the big loser here. He has not yet pit.
Here we go, back to green in Portland. 22 laps to go.
Marcus Armstrong in that green number 11 on the inside of Stingray Robb. His teammate Scott Dixon going with him, but because of that problem in pit lane, Armstrong's a lap down. He needs to let Dixon go by, and there he goes.
Out of push to pass, runs 12th. On board here with Herter. They touched in front of him. Ericsson, contact with Rossi.
That was wild at 180 miles an hour.
Trying to set up maybe. Oh, no, he's gone off.
Oh,
he's going around. No. And he stalled it.
This could bring out a call. No, he restarted it. Dumped the clutch. Bump started his race car. Lost about 5 positions in the process.
And here he is. Alex Palou, for the second time in 3 years, is an NTT IndyCar Series champion. Hello, Palou, a champion again.
Let's go, boys! Oh my God! Let's go! Thank you! You guys are the best!
If there was ever a mic drop in IndyCar racing, we just witnessed it.
What a moment.
And you know what? They were kind of Zanardi-esque. Maybe not as long, but he now is a 2-time champion for Chip Ganassi, like Alex Zanardi. What a cool moment for Alex
And IndyCar
Palou.
champion. Nice job, buddy.
A champion has been crowned before the season is over. It's Alex Palou. Consolidates his position in the history of the NTT IndyCar Series by winning his second title.
Watch the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey, Sunday, September 10th at 2:30 p.m. on NBC.
And with that, welcome to the Push to Pass podcast, episode 42. We are going to review the Bit Nile. Yeah, 42. Can you believe that or not? 42.
Jackie Robinson.
We are going. There you go, right there. Or the great Mariano Rivera. But we will be reviewing the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. My name is Derik. As always, Josh is here with us too. Josh, tell me if you've heard this one before. Hello, Palou. Tell me if you've heard that before. First and foremost, congratulations goes out. Like it was the inevitable. But Alex Palou winning his second NTT IndyCar Series championship, the second in 3 years, in dominating fashion on Sunday. We'll talk more about that and the accolades that Alex Palou, the season that Alex Palou has put together. Josh is going to rank, I think, right up there when everything is all said and done. And we'll get into that here as the show unfolds. Obviously, Mike from Burnout Sports, Burnout Bets, is going to join us. Curious to hear how he did this past weekend, and then we will be previewing, rather. If you can believe it or not, we are to the last race of the season. The Firestone Grand Prix or Monterey Grand Prix or Grand Prix of Monterey. I forget which way that goes out in Monterey, California. The last race of the 2023 season, if you can believe that or not. I remember just starting this in February and all the questions that we had and predictions that we made. Josh, how wrong were we in some of those, especially my championship picks and Indy 500 picks. But yes, interesting on Sunday. And again, when the dust settles, as it's been, seems like all year, Alex Palou again just shows how much he is above the rest of the drivers here in the NTT IndyCar Series.
Definitely. He had a fantastic race. He heard all those talks about Dixon being able to run him down and catch him, and he said, nope, not so fast, boys and girls. I'm still Alex Palou. I'm still in the driver's seat, and I'm still going to win this. So one heck of a race for him, one heck of a season for him. It's I've rarely ever seen a driver be this dominant in a season. Jimmy Johnson's done it, Schumacher's done it, but no one's ever really dominated the IndyCar Series like this. So my hat's off to him. My hat's off also to Scott Dixon for making a little bit of noise down the backstretch, down the end. That he made it gave a little bit question, but in the end, it was always going to be Palou. I mean, from the midpoint to now, it was always going to be Alex Palou. We had a little bit of doubt, but it was always going to be him, in my opinion.
Yeah, we kind of both coordinated him a few weeks ago, even though obviously there was still a handful of races left to go. But we took in a lot of factors. Obviously, looking at his average finish this year, he's got a finish of 3, so basically he's getting a podium in every race. Scott Dixon, hats off to Scott for not giving up, and his crew for not giving up. They had a tremendous hill to climb. They did the best they could, obviously, but they needed to cut more into that lead on Sunday. I think coming out of there, Dixon had to have that lead cut down. If I remember correctly, I think to under 55 or less. And obviously, with Palou winning the race, that didn't do Dixon any favors. So we will see a championship correlation or coronation next week at the end of the Grand Prix there of Monterey. But Alex Palou again becomes one of the quickest drivers ever to lock up the NTT IndyCar Series points championship. Let's dig a little bit more into the story there, Josh, and then I do want to take a look at the season and go through it a little bit at Alex Palou has had because I don't know if we are ever going to see a season where someone is as dominant as Alex Palou was. But before we get to that, like I said, let's get into the story. Let's get into the race a little bit that we witnessed there on Sunday. Alex Palou put a decisive stamp on authority of a dream season, winning the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland on Sunday at the Portland International Raceway, but most importantly, clinching the NTT IndyCar Series championship. Palou from Barcelona, Spain, earned his second series title in the number 10 American Legion Honda, fielded by Chip Ganassi Racing, after claiming his first championship in 2021 with the same team. Also, too, like I said, he became the first driver to seal the IndyCar Series title with one race to spare since Sebastian Bourdais claimed the Champ Car honors in 2007. Quote, this is what we wanted, Palou said. It's been an amazing weekend overall. We had really fast cars. We knew we had to go for it, and we did. We just raced how we've been doing it all season. Super proud to be here in Victory Lane, and super proud of the second championship. I never thought I would be an IndyCar champion, and a two-time IndyCar champion feels amazing, like a dream. This is interesting, too, if you didn't see this. Chip Ganassi with winning that NTT IndyCar Series points championship on Sunday won its 15th IndyCar Series championship. They are just second to Team Penske with 17 titles in the history of the sport. Also, too, with Scott Dixon finishing where he finished on Sunday. Ganassi also clinched its first 1-2 finish in the driver point standings since 2009, as six-time series champion Scott Dixon secured second with a third-place finish in the number 9 PNC Chip Ganassi Racing Honda. Now, finishing second, which I thought this was a strong finish for him, knowing what was going to be on the horizon for this individual. But Felix Rosenquist, who we're going to talk about obviously later in the show, Josh, did finish runner-up to Dixon. He was 5.435 seconds in his number 6 Aero McLaren Chevrolet behind Alex Palou. And then finishing on the last spot on the podium, like you said, Scott Dixon. This is how dominant Alex Palou was. Scott Dixon, who finished third, was still 8.0669 seconds behind teammate Alex Palou. So that is how dominant Palou was there on Sunday. Now, again, not to take away from what Felix did, obviously, and you know, we're going to talk more about him later in the show because we found out today, actually, where he's going to be, Josh, next year around this, or beginning of February next year. But I want to take a closer look again. You know, we've talked about it, we've highlighted it, and I'm sure when we we do our wrap up show over the 2023 season, we'll probably get more into it. But the season that Alex Palou has put together, I think is going to be one, obviously, for the record books, Josh. And I'm not sure if there is going to be another driver that can top what Alex Palou did in the 2023 season. So far, again, we still have one race to go. Palou has 5 wins, 9 podiums, and you want to talk about consistent? He has 12 top 5 finishes and 16 top 10 finishes. Mr. Consistency. He also has 2 NTT P1 award. That's for winning the pole, obviously at the month of May, the Grand Prix, and then the 500 as well. A couple facts about Palou. He is only 26, Josh, if you can believe that. Just 26 years old and doing what he's doing, driving at the level he's driving at, and now a 2-time series champion. Also, this is something interesting that I didn't know. Palou is the only IndyCar Series champion from the country of Spain. Believe that or not. He is the only champion from Spain. And then, like we said, he is the first IndyCar Series driver in 16 years. Sebastian Bourdais did it in 2007 to clinch the title before the series finale. And then a couple other tidbits here. Alex Palou, and you want to talk about important statistics to lead and to win in. Palou in the 2023 series season leads in the following: wins, poles, podiums, top 5, top 10, races led, and laps completed. That is just mighty impressive. And then when we open with the show, Palou joins an elite list of championship winners from Chip Ganassi Racing. Scott Dixon has 6. Dario Franchitti, who's his advisor, I do believe, or the team advisor, has 2. Alex Zanardi has 2. And now Alex Palou has 2 in 3 years. Josh, going to get your take, and not only obviously Palou's dominance on Sunday, but those statistics there that Palou put down in the 2023 season. And again, he still has 1 race to go, so he could add another win to this.
Fantastic season. Probably will never, like you said, will never be duplicated. And I know with how as little amount of races as they run, I mean, for him to only have 2 poles and still have 5 wins, that's amazing. The only other one I can think of that had 2 poles was Rahal, and Rahal didn't win any this year. So to be able to make it through the season and almost have a top 10, pretty much have a top 10 finish in every single race that he raced in, just shows Mr. Consistency. We talk about Dixon being, Mr. Consistency, being out there and just drive. I think for the foreseeable future, with him only being 26, I mean, that's 11 years younger than I am. And for him to have already won the series twice, and have 5 and could be 6 wins this year, and most likely he's going to have a 10th podium, because even if he doesn't win, I would imagine he'll get either 2nd or 3rd. It's just dominancy. We've never seen this amount of dominancy from an IndyCar driver, to my knowledge. I'm not a historian, but I don't think that there's ever been this dominant of a season come out. And I would imagine, like we said, I would imagine he'll be back with Chip, and he'll be wanting to go for 2 in a row and make it 3 out of 4 years. So congrats to him, and here's to seeing him back in 2024 and seeing what he can do.
Just doing some quick math there as you were hitting on Alex Palou and the season that he's had. You look at, he's had 16 top 10 finishes. For people that follow IndyCar and you're doing the math, they've raced 16 races this year. So Alex Palou has finished no worse than 10th in every race this year. So, I mean, that kind of tells you the consistency that the type of season that Alex Palou has put on, that in all 16 races so far, he has finished no worse than 10th. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. I would love to know anybody anybody that's had a season like this with just the statistics that are right there uh, in front of us. But it's amazing, and I'm sure when we do our wrap up show here in a couple weeks time, we'll talk more in depth about that. But that's just you think about that key stat right there, that Alex Palou in every race this year has finished no worse than 10th. That's and wow. I mean, that's I don't know what else more you can say than that. That is just like you said, mind-boggling to say the least. All right, let's take a look at the results from Sunday's race before we get into to some news, because since we left you last, a lot has happened. Obviously, the Portland race this weekend, but the silly season, I think, Josh, this season's not over yet, but the silly season, I think, is well underway. Like we said, the time in the race, just under 2 hours, 1 minute, or 1 hour rather, 57 minutes. Average speed was 110 miles an hour. There were 9 lead changes and just 6 caution laps. Fastest lap of the race was on lap 28 by Joseph Newgarden at 119 miles an hour. And then the fastest leader lap was Alex Palou on the same lap 28, at 118 miles per hour. The winner of the race, obviously, was Alex Palou. He was followed by Felix Rosenquist, Scott Dixon, Pato Award, Joseph Newgarden, Rinus VeeKay. Good finish for Rinus to get a little bit of momentum going into the next year. Marcus Ericsson, who's going to be changing teams, as we've touched on. David Malukas, who we think potentially is going to be changing teams here soon. Scott McLaughlin, and rounding out the top 10 was Kyle Kirkwood. Then it was Christian Lundgaard, Graham Rahal, which I thought Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, a disappointing weekend. They were the fastest on Friday with Christian Lundgaard, and then Saturday with Graham Rahal picking up his second pole of the year. I really thought there would be more out of that stable this weekend, but it just all for naught there. Colton Herta finished 13th. As you see there on the highlight package there, late spin by Colton that drove him down all the way to 13. Elio Castroneves, Callum Ilott, Santino Ferrucci, Devlin D. Francesca. Impressive, I think, to say the least, being behind the wheel of an IndyCar for the first time. Yuri Veps finished 18th. Marcus Ericsson finished 19th, and rounding out the top 20 was Alexander Rossi. 21st, Ryan Hunter-Reay. Then it was Benjamin Peterson, Stingray Robb, Tom Bloomquist, Will Power, who had a early spin as well. That's what pushed him all the way back to 25th. Augustine Canapino, and then potentially driving his last race for Andretti. You can't say Andretti Autosport anymore. Andretti Global is Roman Grosjean. There's a lot of scuttlebutt, as they like to say in the military there, going around, Josh, for the last race of the year this weekend, that Andretti Global may only field 3 cars. And if that's the case, it sounds like Roman Grosjean would be the odd man out. Going to be interesting to see if that's how that plays out. So this could potentially be this race last weekend could potentially be the last race we see Roman Grosjean under the Andretti Global colors. But there are rumors going around the paddock. You know how that goes. I know we touched on this at the beginning. You may see a familiar face back at Dale Coyne Racing in 2024. And I'm speaking of Roman Grosjean could be back with Dale Coyne in 2024. Just have to wait and see how, obviously, all of that shakes out. Let's get to some drivers that we were able to grab some interviews with after the race on Sunday. We were able to get, looks like, a handful here. First up, we're going to talk to David Malukas.
All right, we just finished up the race there, and it was a really good race for us. I mean, it's probably my first time getting a trophy for getting P8, so that was really special. We ended up starting, I think, 23rd or 24th, somewhere in that row, and we ended up P8 at the end. So it was, I mean, we knew after qualifying happened, we had a bad qualifying, and we're not sure what happened, but we knew the pace was there. Every single practice session before that and after that, we were fast, like at least the top 10 car. So it was a bit frustrating qualifying came, but we knew we worked hard in the race, and we knew that we can get the car to where it needed to be, and in the end we ended up with the top 10. So I'm really proud with the team. It was a really good strategy, and we made a lot of good moves there. And honestly, most of the moves was made through the pits and strategy. So thank you to everybody at Delcoin Racing, and we will be in a few days here heading to Laguna.
Yeah, we started 21st, finished 14th. Good day for us. Good pace in a place that normally we're not strong. So I'm very happy. We did take a penalty, and I'll explain what happened. My dash, when the reserve kicks in, the dash goes blank, and when I press the speed limit, obviously I heard a beep, but unfortunately it wasn't, I guess, it's kick off. And then I was out of the speed limit. I just realized when I came out of the pit that I saw that the speed limit wasn't on. So very disappointed that, because you want to have the whole information in the dash so that you don't make a mistake like that. In the end of the day, the best we could have done it was probably between 12. So it's still a very, very good day for MSR team, and thank for our partners. And now, last race of the season, let me
Portland GP done. After qualifying with a bad set of tires yesterday, it was okay to get going again today. We started out all right, but with an early yellow, we decided to commit to a 2-stop strategy. And that was a tough day, lots of fuel saving, but the crew did a good job on the pit stops, stayed clean, finished where we started. So not much to complain about, not much to celebrate there, but not bad for a birthday at a racetrack.
Yeah, it was, well, I mean, for me, it was just about learning. I mean, I didn't really get too involved, just trying to make sure I get the distance under my belt. Yeah, I had a bit of a mess up with the pit lane. And apparently I don't know, but it seemed that they moved the banners that I've been going off all weekend for the pit lane exit, and I had no idea where the exit was, so I did it too early, unfortunately. I thought I'd passed it. So that, put us completely with the drive completely out of sequence, so that kind of was a bit of... From there, the race was a bit boring, just driving around and then see, that car's coming, and just, so from that point it was just like driving around really. But yeah, I learned a lot. It's a big challenge, so hopefully, moving forward is a little bit easier, so yeah, looking forward to next weekend.
Huge thank you to all of the drivers that were able to give us a little bit of perspective that they had from their entry there on Sunday. Josh, any of the drivers that we heard from, anything that stands out from you? I didn't know Elio had a electrical issue, it sounds like, or the telemetry issue until we were able to get an interview with him. I didn't know that was one of the issues that he had there on Sunday.
Thanks to all the drivers we were able to interview over the weekend. I mean, just typical stuff, telemetry, Stingray. Stingray's always upbeat. Malukas, he's a young driver. He's coming on. He's going on to bigger and better things, as we'll talk about later on the show. But I mean, standard interviews. They were all gracious to us, and we appreciate them. And hopefully they'll keep being gracious to us as we progress more into the year and to the end of the year. You're on mute.
Yeah, I seen that. But yeah, huge thank you to all of the drivers that have give us a little bit of time, either pre or post race, that we were able to bring to you guys all year. Definitely love the access. Obviously, that the NTT IndyCar series allows journalists as well. Definitely top notch. Let's get to our sponsors here real quick. And then, because there's a ton of news, I guess is what I should say. There is a ton of news from the last time that we spoke. But if it wasn't for our sponsors here and an amazing job that they do, obviously we wouldn't be able to bring you this great podcast and everything that it entails week in and week out. First, always go check out Always Ready 1776. If you're into patriotic apparel, headwear, and more, then go check out Always Ready 1776.com. And then also use the promo code if you do happen to find something there for purchase. Use the promo code Push to Pass for 10% off of your order. Remember, that's Always Ready 1776.com. And then also, if you are in the market for some home remodeling or design build needs, go check out Get 'em Associates at getem.com. And also to use their promo code that you see down there at the bottom, Push to Pass, for $250 off any design service. That's getem.com, Get 'em Associates, and Always Ready 1776 at Always Ready 1776.com. So definitely love the sponsors, and they make it possible, obviously, for us to do this on a week out basis. Before we get to Mike here in about 15 minutes or so, like we touched on, there is a lot of news, things, items that have happened since we spoke last about 1 week or so ago. And the first one, Josh, this doesn't come as a surprise to anyone. It is unfortunate, I think, that it had to happen as it did. But Meyer Shank obviously has decided to move on from Simon Pagenaud, and it's no fault of his own. Obviously, just bad luck, I think, is what to attribute this to. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Let's try this again. I think I may have jumped ahead of myself here a little bit. Let's try this again. With Marcus Ericsson going to Andretti Autosport in 2024, Ganassi has a spot to fill. And it seems like they have gotten their man, Linus Lundqvist, who has driven for Meyer Shank Racing here the last few weeks or so. He is going to be the newest driver in the stable for Chip Ganassi Racing in 2024. As like I said, they announced this past week that they have signed Linus Lundqvist to a multi-year contract. Hailing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lundqvist previously won the 2020 Formula Regional Americas Championship, the 2018 BRWC British Formula 3 Championship, and the 2016 Formula STCC Nordic Championship. And then as well, if you think about it, 1 year ago, he did win the Indy Next or Indy Lights series there as well. Quote, this comes from car owner Chip Ganassi himself. Joining Chip Ganassi Racing is an absolute dream come true for me, said Lundqvist. Stepping up into the full-time NTT IndyCar series, and to do so with one of the most successful teams in the history of the championship is the moment I've been working through for my whole career. It is hard to explain how much this means to me. I am incredibly grateful to Chip, Mike, and to everyone who has backed me on this journey, including my family as well. It's terrific that the opportunity to hire Linus, a proven winner, plus the reigning 2022 Indy Next champion, is now a reality at Chip Ganassi Racing, said Chip Ganassi Racing Manager Director Mike Hall. He has shown that his on-track performance creates the racecraft separation that's required in IndyCar today. Growing together with Linus is what comes next. So like I said, after winning the 2022 Indy Next Championship, Lundqvist made the jump to compete in 3 IndyCar Series races this year with Meyer Shank Racing, and obviously wasted no time making his mark, setting the fastest lap among all drivers in 2 of his first 3 series races. Josh, great addition, I think, to the Chip Ganassi stable, getting a little younger, and I think this obviously proves now what you've said, that Alex Palou is going to be the face of this racing team, but they welcome their newest addition this week in Linus Lundqvist.
Great add-on for Chip Ganassi. Linus Lundqvist is a young up-and-coming driver, and he'll be able to hopefully, I mean, as far as we know, I mean, as we're guessing Palou's staying, hopefully Palou can kind of take him under his wing and give him some pointers, so that they can make that Chip Ganassi team just even stronger. So looking forward to seeing it. Looking forward to seeing how Lundqvist can fare in the I don't want to say better equipment, but the better team, the more prominent team, and see how he can progress, and maybe he'll wow us and win a race or two, or get a P1 to begin a race next year.
Yeah, he's definitely, as you said, upgrading equipment, obviously. So definitely going to see what Linus Lundqvist has to bring here in 2024. Now, with Linus going to Chip Ganassi, and there's going to be more news coming out here shortly. Over the weekend, it was reported on the broadcast through NBC and Peacock, their first practice session, so it had been Friday evening, that the driver of the number 18 Dale Coyne Racing with HMD Motorsports and Trucking Honda, David Malukas, is expected. Now, there's been no announcement yet, but it could come, from what I'm hearing, within the next couple days or so, or maybe even after the race this weekend. But David Malukas is expected to be announced as the new driver of the number 6 Arrow McLaren Chevrolet in 2024. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, well, that's Felix Rosenqvist's ride. Well, it was up until today, and we'll hit on that here momentarily. Lucas would be replacing the 5-year IndyCar veteran, like I said, Felix Rosenqvist, who is the current driver of the number 6 entry. Now, at the time of this article that was written, Rosenqvist was being rumored to be possibly joining either Meyer Shank Racing, which he did, cat's out of the bag, in the number 60 AutoNation Sirius XM Honda entry, if current driver, which he did release today on social media, he would not be coming back with at least Meyer Shank Racing. Simon Pagenaud doesn't return, or there was a possibility at the time that Felix Rosenqvist would be the lead driver for the number 30 Custom Entertainment Honda for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing in 2024. Now, I think the one impressive thing, if the reports are true and this does get confirmed at some point within the next few weeks, that Malukas would be joining an already star-studded stable, and try to say that 3 times fast, at Arrow McLaren with, Pato O'Ward, Alexander Rossi, and then keep in mind that Kyle Larson is going to be in that stable for a Indianapolis 500 one-off. So what a impressive stable that Zach Brown, again, is building for 2024. But Josh pointed out, they haven't won, as Jim Morrow would say, diddly poo. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back in 2024. Malukas, who just has 32 IndyCar Series races under his belt, has picked up 2 podium finishes while also leading just a handful of laps, which is 10. Like I said, nothing has been confirmed, but according to reports from 2 weeks ago at the Bomarita Automotive Group 500, David Malukas did confirm that he would not be returning to Dale Coyne Racing HMD Motorsports in 2024. So, Josh, to get your take, if, and again, nothing is confirmed, we can only base off what we've heard and what we feel here. But if David Malukas does join Zach Brown and the evil empire there over at Arrow McLaren in 2024, is that the right move, you think, for him?
It is a right move. As good as Dale Coyne is, Dale Coyne Racing's they're not going to be able to offer him the equipment that Arrow is going to be able to offer him. Arrow they have the money, they have the connections, and it's a good move for Malukas. I'm not sure how. I mean, if I'm Malukas, I'm feeling like I'm on cloud nine. But then I also think back to, well, this was supposed to be Palou, so am I? I was the second choice. They were all Arrow was all in on Palou, and then Palou backed out. And if I'm Malukas, I'm thinking, well, why didn't you come to? I mean, I know I'm not as good as Palou, but second fiddle, but I'm sure that's not playing anything into his brain. I'm sure he's in hog heaven. He's going to a prominent team, and he's looking forward to next season and seeing how that goes. Racing alongside Rossi and Pato Award is going to be a great great thing, and I think he'll look good in that. What are they? Blue and orange. I don't know. They call it a different. It's not orange. It's papaya. That's what it is. Papaya.
There you go. Papaya.
Blue
Papaya
and papaya.
orange.
Papaya
There
orange.
you
He's
go.
going to look good in that blue and papaya, I would imagine.
Yeah. You know what though? You think about it though. I mean, I think you're absolutely spot on. David Malukas is going to be able to compete a lot more with better equipment. Obviously, coming from Dale Coyne to Arrow McLaren, at least on paper, we would think that, but this year's been a microcosm of things that we thought would happen with Arrow McLaren. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Obviously, Dale Coyne isn't up to the standards that Arrow McLaren is, but the two oval races at the Bomarito Automotive Group 500 last year and this year, David Malukas podiumed both of them, if memory serves me correctly. So, given the right equipment and given a little bit more of a competitive edge, I think the best. I don't think we have seen yet the best of David Malukas just yet. But just to end that, I think you're absolutely right that papaya, yes, papaya orange is going to look awfully sharp on David Malukas. Now, with all of that being said, now you got to be asking yourself, well, if Felix Rosenqvist is out, where is he going to be in 2024? Well, you know what? You don't have to wait much longer, because earlier today it did break that that Felix Rosenqvist, gosh, I can't talk tonight, has now signed a multi-year deal with Meyer Shanks Indy Racing Program, and that'll be starting in 2024. The 32-year-old Swede will bring his pace and experience as he teams up with Tom Blomqvist. So what a stable at next year for Meyer Shank Racing. You have a Rosenqvist and a Blomqvist. You ain't going to get those misconstrued anywhere. For Meyer Shank Racing's full season 2-car campaign. Felix has 1 career win along with 5 podium finishes and 4 career poles. Quote, I am super excited to start the new chapter of my IndyCar career together with Meyer Shank Racing, said Rosenqvist. This will be a great opportunity for myself and Meyer Shank Racing to alleviate and get to the next level together. I'm also pretty excited to get to work with my old friend Tom Blomqvist again, because if you remember correctly, they actually grew up together. From what I understand earlier, I seen a video that Marshall Pruitt put out talking with Michael Shank, and actually Rosenqvist and Blomqvist grew up together. So it's going to be interesting to see how well they team up growing up as they did. I'm ready to start working together and getting the next season started. And then this come from Mike Shank. We're very excited to have our 2024 IndyCar plans finalized and to welcome Felix Rosenqvist to the team, said Mike Shank. Felix has been somebody that has been on our radar for quite some time now and has lined up this year to work something out with him. It's no secret that we have had a difficult season with some things out of our control and some things in our control. I think we are looking forward to resetting completely, starting over, and getting to work. I think Tom and Felix will work great together and really feed off of each other. We will also have Elio with us at the race to provide his feedback and advice, which will be an added bonus. So I think we're in for a solid year ahead. And then, as expected, Bloomquist sounds like he is going to man the number 60 AutoNation Series XM Honda, while Felix Rosenqvist is going to be behind of the old Elio Castroneves entry, the 06. So Felix goes from 6 to 06 in the AutoNation Sirius XM Honda. And then a few kind words there from his potentially former boss, Zach Brown, there on Twitter/X, wishing you all the best at Rosenqvist. Thanks for being part of our McLaren family. Before we bring Mike in here and look at the betting aspect of this year, or this last weekend and this weekend coming up, Josh, great move here by Felix Rosenqvist, going to Meyer Shank and being able to concentrate on that racing program going into 2024.
Definitely, he can definitely become the face of that race team with the experience that he has. I'm glad to see he landed on his feet and he was able to catch a new ride for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to see that Felix is going to have a home in 2024. Very talented driver, and I think he's going to do some big things there over at Meyer Shank Racing. But it is now time to bring the betting aficionado. There we go. I can't talk tonight. Aficionado. Let's try that. Mike, good to see you. I know you had some inclement weather last weekend. I was hoping maybe you were going to broadcast from outside the storm or something, kind of like Jim. Was it Jim from the Weather Channel? Jim Katori, I believe that's his name. But good to see everything is back to normal. Curious. I know we didn't get to talk last week, but. Who was some money? Who are you putting some money on last weekend that may or may not have disappointed you?
Yeah, well, it's probably a good thing you guys didn't talk to me. And the hurricane got in the way. It was got a little breezy over here, and whenever that happens, the power likes to flicker on and off. But no, look, I'll tell you when I win, tell you when I lose. It was a losing week for me. I was worried. The one guy I wasn't on was Palou. I was on Dixon, Ray Hall, McLaughlin, and right away when that race started, it was a tire race. You knew right away that the guys that started on the blacks, Palou, Dixon, picked the right strategy. You saw Ray Hall and McLaughlin just shuffle to the back immediately, and unfortunately, I did have Dixon, thinking that Dixon, I wanted guys on the different tire strategies. I think that's going to be a theme going into the next years. The way these tires, unless something changes with the compounds or they do something different in IndyCar, it seems to be whoever picks these tires right is just running away with these races. So you have to have yourself covered from a betting angle on both the tires. The problem was Palou passed Dixon on lap 1. Dixon went backwards, and Palou became the top guy on the blacks. I think if Palou doesn't get past Dixon on lap 1, then Dixon easily wins that race. I was a little perturbed about the block. That wasn't a block. That the block heard round X. I don't know. We live in our IndyCar bubble. People were not happy about that. I wasn't happy because Dixon would have been the biggest winner for me with a 6-1 hit there. So yeah, didn't really do too well. I didn't really like many of the matchups. So I put all my eggs into the to win basket last week and walked out with goose eggs. So. It happens. It's betting.
Most definitely.
Yeah, a few comments Yeah, I had a few comments, Mike, on that block too. That if that's anybody else, an IndyCar is going to call that. But you can't show favoritism, and I kind of felt that IndyCar did that because, like I said, if that was anybody else, that would have pulled a move off like that. And I think was it later in the race? I want to say Colton Herta, but I don't think that's right. Maybe Kyle Kirkwood. Somebody got called for blocking as well. So you're gonna call that on Kirkwood, but yet you're gonna let this one slide on Palou. And it really would have worked in IndyCar's favor because if you call a penalty on Palou, that's going to put Dixon in the lead, probably going to win the race, and that's going to tighten the points championship even more going into Monterey next weekend.
Yeah, they can't even get their conspiracy theories right. I agree. I was like, hey, throw the blocking penalty. We get some interest into this next race. But I don't know. You can also decide maybe they wanted to have their champion done before football started. At least we're getting closer to not having the season going into football season. Because from a betting standpoint, like even last week with college football, like we didn't get very many lines. A couple of things came in late Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, some matchups. But I didn't even like the book that I used. I didn't see any top fives, any top tens. The top three market was crappy. And the bid matchups weren't great either. So it's rough. Like once, football's king, and then, and in the racing world, IndyCar is at the bottom of the pecking order for betting still, if it's not the 500. So, yeah, probably not going to be a lot of odds for this week either. It'll be interesting to see. About what Palou, where they put Palou. He's done very well at this race. Won last year from the middle of the pack. Was top 3 the year before. Andretti, and Ganassi usually fast on the road courses. So I assume he'll be the favorite, but I don't know. It's going to be a weird race since the championships are already wrapped up.
Mike, just one question I have. I know you talked about tires were going to be the issue that decided last weekend in Portland. Is that going to be the same mindset, same philosophy going into Monterey this weekend as well?
Probably. I think you find that like it's very clear. Like you figure it out. Like if you watch qualifying, you watch practices, and then you start hearing what the drivers are saying. And they'll tell you they're trying to figure out, they'll tell you kind of how the tires are reacting to the track, and you'll get an idea if there's a red-black advantage. And then they'll also talk about, what they have, what sets they have left. And then you get those tire designations, put out before the race. And you always kind of see, what everybody's doing and whether people are going off strategy. And, it doesn't, that's, last week usually was a track position race. You wanted to start at the front, and I think they just made the mistake starting on reds, and it turned out not to work out at all. And I think that's something you just got to pay attention to and bet accordingly. You can find some value. I mean, maybe it's like I said, Dixon. I think was the reason I bet Dixon was the tires. Just so happened to be that Palou got him on the first lap, and I thought Palou would be careful, and he was careful, but once he got ahead, he just had the right strategy and he ran away with it. He pretty much had clean track most of the race. So, yeah, I think the tire thing is going to be something we have to keep an eye on, and it'll probably play out it's been a thing on the road courses for sure. When Palou ran away with Indy, it was because of the tires. Same thing. So the guy, Joseph and Palou getting up front last year at this track was tires. So tires and a little bit of luck on fuel. So, it's going to be something I have to keep an eye on, and then it's maybe a good way to get some long shots, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of lines get put out this week. Hopefully we get some numbers, before Sunday.
Josh, anything betting wise that you want to ask Mike about either this past weekend or coming up here as we're coming an end to the 2023 season?
Nope. All I got to say is you've done the sweat. You've made it the entire year, one race, and you cash in that Ericsson bet.
I wasn't going to bring that up, man. Why are you going to bring that up?
You're doing it. You're going to do it. I don't think Ericsson's going to win this weekend. I think he's had bad luck.
That's turned out to be a really fun bet because I've been sweating that the entire year after he stole that victory from Award. in St. Pete, and of course that was the track. That was the one race. I've only been to one race this year in person. Just so happened it was that one. Yes, that has been sitting in my account, burning a hole in my account. If there's a big number on him, I'll probably hedge that a little bit. So if anybody followed me on that bet and still got that bet going, if they throw like a 25 to 1 or something, it'll be a small bet, just enough to cover, just to break even if I have to. But we'll see. We'll see about that. But I think you're right. Like he's gone away to another team. I doubt he's going to be that engaged, or they're going to be, they're just going to try to get out without wrecking the car. So yeah, I feel good about that one, and it's been fun to follow that along all year.
Yeah, I just had to bring that up because it's been a sweat for me. I didn't even make the bet, and I'm just excited for you that you're most likely going to win this.
We'll see. We got one more to go. I didn't expect him to win any, so he got the one, and he's made me work for that bet. We'll find out what happens, but he'll probably be. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see if I decide to hedge or not. It'll have to be a big number, but he's not been. I expect him to be 20, 25 to 1, but who knows?
Mike, last question that I have. You talked about college football starting this past weekend. How much did you put on Colorado and Duke, respectively?
Nothing. But I will actually look to Colorado is not as good. Talk about an overreaction. I've talked to some friends in Vegas that say that they're just waiting to pounce against Colorado. So no, I'm not buying the Coach Prime hype train. Who knows? He might be the coach of Florida after if the Gators fire our coach. It was not a fun weekend for me, college football wise. My alma mater and team looks like they're going to be really bad. So yeah, and so no, nothing there. But don't you worry. I'm excited for the NFL. I'll be locking in. Maybe throughout the offseason, I'll post some stuff on Indy_bet, a football pick every now and then, just to kind of keep the betting going. Usually I go hibernate till the first race, but we'll see. Maybe we'll pop some stuff in here.
Good stuff, Mike, as always, all season. Huge thank you for joining us. Look forward to what you and Tony have in store for this weekend, and then your college football and NFL bet teases, I guess, is what we should say. But again, a huge thank you, Mike, for doing what you do. Hopefully people have taken your betting advice. I know Josh has, and they've added a little bit more shillings to their pockets that they can use for the upcoming football season. Mike, as always, huge thank you, and we will talk in 1 week's time.
All right, guys, take care.
Bye.
Good stuff there, Josh. As always, Mike definitely knows his stuff. I think that's safe to say. And like I said, hopefully the audience, I know you have been following the advice that Mike has put out there. I hear the shillings you got in your pocket there from Mike this year, and definitely, hopefully, people have built up their bankroll that they can use coming up. The college football underway, NFL underway. So good stuff there. All right. Before we put a wrap on this show, let's update everyone what the racing teams are going to look like so far in 2024. If people at home haven't been paying attention, haven't been following, let's go through these here real quick. If AJ Foyt does come back to race, the racing team rather, in 2024, up in the air with the number 14 entry currently with Santino Ferrucci. But what we do know is Benjamin Peterson, one of the rookies in this class this year, is on a multi-year contract. So he will be back in the 55 car in 2024. And then, like we mentioned earlier, Andretti Autosport, don't scratch that, Andretti Global is going to be fielding at least 3 cars next year. Still waiting to hear who's going to be in the old Devlin DeFrancesca ride. You have Colton Herta, which I don't know why it says 88. We both know that's wrong. Kyle Kirkwood in the 27, and Marcus Ericsson presumably in the number 28. Now for Arrow McLaren, obviously no announcement yet has been made on David Malukas, so they just have 2 full-time next year so far, Pato Award and Alexander Rossi. Moving to Chip Ganassi, obviously Lunas Lundqvist there in the 8, Scott Dixon in the 9, Alex Palou presumably in the number 10, and from all intents and purposes, from what I've heard, Josh, it sounds like their rookie, Marcus Ericsson, is going to be driving, Marcus Armstrong is going to be driving, a full season next year in the number 11 entry. Dale Coyne looks like Stingray Robb may be out of a seat. We'll have to see how that remains. And it does say David Malukas is under a multi-year contract, but I do believe he has a opt-out clause in that, which it sounds like he is going to exercise. Ed Carpenter Racing, obviously Ed's going to be back next year just for ovals only, like he has done. The number 20 car still up in the air. The old Connor Daly ride, that's still up in the air. And then Renus VK, who had a great finish over the weekend, will be back in the number 21 machine. Moving over to Hunkos Hollinger Racing, both of their drivers, Callum Ilott and Augustine Canapino, their contracts are up. So both of those rides could be up in the air to new drivers next year. We talked about Meyer Shank Racing if you go back earlier in the show. Tom Bloomquist looks like he's going to be in the 06, and Felix Rosenquist is going to be in the 60 machine. Team Penske may be the one that's most solidified right now. Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, and Will Power are going to be all back in 2024. And then Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. You have Graham Rahal back in the 15 next year. Christian Lundgaard in the number 45, and still waiting to see who's going to drive that number 30 machine for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. So that gives everyone, we're all on the same page here as to the news information for 2024. Still waiting on all of the entries, and then that schedule that's obviously going to be reworked in 2024, waiting for that official announcement there as well. Josh, you have anything to add here before the checkered flag drops and we get on out of here for this evening?
Nope. Can't wait till next week. We'll be talking about Laguna Seca.
Yep, absolutely. The Grand Prix Monterey at the Laguna Seca next weekend that will wrap up the 2023 season, if you can believe that or not. So, for myself and Josh and everyone else that makes the Push to Pass podcast possible, Mike from Burnout Sports, Burnout Bets, and then all of the drivers that were able to join us this evening to give us their thoughts on the race this past Sunday. Obviously, we thank them for that. And like I said, myself, Josh, everyone else here at the Push to Pass podcast, we will see you in 1 week's time when we are talking about not only the results of Laguna Seca out in Monterey, California, but putting a big checkered flag bow on the 2023 season. So until 1 week's time, so long, everybody.